Welcome back everyone, I'm Games, this is Fallout 4 and today I'm going to be giving you some general hints and tips which will help you on any playthrough of Fallout 4 at any stage of the game. And indeed, speaking of playthroughs, that is the first tip. Do always play the game on survival mode. You will have much more fun in survival mode than you will in any other mode. It is more challenging, enemies hit you harder, you have a much smaller inventory, you need to take care of hunger and thirst and tiredness and diseases, and fast travel is disabled and all things like that, but that actually makes the game more fun. That makes things like the vertibird signal grenade you get from the Brotherhood of Steel and the teleporter you have access to in the Institute actually key devices instead of just silly little gimmicks you never use. So that's the first tip, play in survival mode. The second tip is pick up all the loot you find, like this hammer. Pick it up. These glass bottles, pick them up. Pick up all this stuff, pick up everything. Everything has a use. Most things can be broken down and used to make upgrades for your weapons, your armor, or your settlements. When you mouse over things, if you have certain mods, they will tell you what they break down into. So this disc fan breaks down into gear, screw, and steel. Gears and screws could probably go towards building defensive gun turrets for my settlement, or indeed an upgrade for my own gun. So yeah, grab everything, especially at the start of the game. Even though we're on survival and we have lowered carry capacity, fill yourself up on all the junk loot and take it to a settlement workbench. And when you're given control of a settlement workshop, you can then dump all your junk gear and you can build things with it. And other things you want to do as soon as you get control of a settlement is to break down all the bits you're not necessarily going to keep, like this tire wall. See, this will give us 30 rubber. That's a lot of building materials. This entire ruined house can go. That will give us 15 steel, 20 wood, 15 concrete and another 5 rubber. Gone. So yeah, break down all the stuff you can and that will give you a lot of ingredients for building your own things. The next tip is to do with the hacking game. The game does not tell you this, but if you can find brackets which are facing each other like these two here, you see this will highlight as if it's a word. You click that and it will remove an incorrect answer. And there's another one. So the first thing you do when you're doing a hacking game, you scan the entire grid and you find all these brackets. There's another pair there and it will remove incorrect answers from the grid and make the game a lot easier. And the next tip is to build up your settlements. A, because you get experience for doing so, and B, because they become essential places where you can resupply yourself and heal yourself. First thing we're going to make is a bed. I'll just make it in my room. Get rid of the old bed. And as you saw, we got 7 experience for making that bed. So we can spend quite a lot of time replacing the houses which I had demolished, building new walls and making them look all pretty with lots of furniture and lovely decorations and things like that. And I probably will do that at some point in this playthrough. But what you can also do for a whole ton of experience right at the start of the game is stick down a couple of walls. This is going to trigger some people, it's quite controversial. Then you go to shelves and you find steel shelf. As we see, we have 429 steel in our workbench and it only costs 2 steel to make this shelf. So place one shelf, got 2 XP for it. Place another shelf right on top of it. They literally occupy the same physical space. Another 2 XP. And another 2 XP, and you can just spam shelves and the XP bar just grows and grows and grows. And we've leveled up. We've placed about 20 shelves here. If we'd built like 20 wall sections, we would have got exactly the same result as we did from here. This is just a faster way of getting experience. And what we can do is we can then break down these shelves and regain 50% of the things that went into them. So that means we can do what, 210 with our 420 steel, and then break them down and make 105 and break them all down and do another 55. You can do that for as long as you want. But who's got time for that? Not me. So you can do it just a little bit just to get yourself up to a level. And speaking of level ups, let's get on to the next tip. The next tip is always choose the Idiot Savant skill. It's unlocked when you have luck at 5. I started the game with 5 because I wanted this straight away. What this does, every single time you earn XP from any source, whether it be building shelves or handing in quests, you have a chance to receive triple the amount of experience from that action. If this triggers when you're handing in a main story quest, you'll probably go up an entire level instantly. It's ridiculously overpowered. Idiot Savant triggers more often the lower your intelligence is. So our intelligence is only 3, and if we do Idiot Savant will trigger like 9% of the time. So 9% of the time we'd be getting 300% experience. Always pick Idiot Savant, and that is what we're going to do. And the next level of Idiot Savant unlocks at level 11, and that increases the amount of XP you get from triple to 5 times. So if Idiot Savant rank 2 triggers on a main quest completion, you're going to go up about 2 levels. So yeah, Idiot Savant is overpowered as all hell. And because Idiot Savant triggers more the lower your intelligence is, there is a hack you can do. Certain items such as beer, look around, you'll probably find some beer in the starting settlement. Here we are. And as we see in the middle, it says INT -1 for 3 minutes. So this will reduce our intelligence by 1 for 3 minutes. Then that gives us 3 minutes to do as many XP generating actions as we can. And Idiot Savant will trigger more often. So that is a really good idea. So let's do some of that. Something else you're always going to want in your settlements is a supply of water. You'll find that in resources. Water, the easiest thing to build is probably one of these water pumps. Boop. And if you have the Vault Tech Calling DLC, you will find another one in furniture, miscellaneous. This will be a water fountain. Water fountains don't actually produce water for the settlement, but they are a nice easy source of water for yourself. Because especially at the start of the game, purified water is a really good way of healing yourself. And the way you can collect it is have some empty bottles in your inventory. They're junk items, as we see. We have quite a lot, like beer bottles, milk bottles, empty Nuka-Cola bottles, baby bottles, doesn't matter. And when you go up to any source of water, you will have a film bottle there. So that's a good way of getting water. When you drink the resulting purified water, you will not get an empty bottle back. This just converts the empty bottle into a purified water can. So the bottle is destroyed when you do this. But don't feel too bad about that. Bottles are everywhere. You will have hundreds of empty bottles. How much purified water did we get from that? Let's have a look. In aid, drinks, and 10. Plenty. And you could and should set favourites so you can find things quickly. So I'll put purified water on 0. So anytime I need a drink, I'll just press 0 and have a drink. As you see on the bottom right hand side, we are hungry, thirsty, under the effects of alcohol, and we're tired, and that has reduced our AP. So let's sort that out. We'll just have a drink. No, I'm no longer thirsty. You could of course have just come here and drunk some water manually, like that. In survival mode, never go to bed when you are hungry or thirsty. This increases the chance you will wake up with some sort of illness. So let's have something to eat and then we'll go to bed. There we are, all done. When you sleep for more than 7 hours, you will get a temporary perk called Well Rested, and that increases the amount of experience you gain from any source for a couple of hours. So when you combine that with drinking beer and Idiot Savant and building settlement stuff, you can get a lot of levels. There we are, and that is the Well Rested bonus. The next thing we're going to talk about is Charisma. Your Charisma stat is extremely important. If you have a look at our stats and special, I currently have Charisma 7. I began the game with 6 and I'm wearing a wedding ring, and one of the mods I have gives my wedding ring +1 Charisma, and having higher Charisma gives you better prices at vendors, and it also helps you pass speech checks. And if you have Charisma at 11, you will pass any speech check in the game. This is a good thing because passing speech checks gives you XP, and again, Idiot Savant can trigger on that and give you lots of XP. It can also extort more money from people for doing quests. It can even help you get through quests easier because you can just pass a speech check and avoid an entire difficult section of a quest. So yeah, Charisma is really good. Now, some ways to increase Charisma are clothing. As we know, one of the mods I have has turned my wedding ring, there it is, into a Charisma boosting piece of clothing. So let's have a look around this starting town and see if there's any more clothing for us. There usually is. Let's have a look in here. We've lucked out. This tuxedo gives 1 charisma. This loungewear also gives 1 charisma. Let's keep looking around the town and see what else we can find. After having raided all of my neighbours' houses, we've found quite a lot of clothing, so let's see what we found. Found this clean black suit, which is charisma 2. This dirty black suit is charisma 2. That's good. Better than the tuxedo. We have suspenders and slacks. That's endurance. Sweater vest and slacks. That's also charisma 2. Loungewear, charisma 1. Postman hat, endurance 1. Not bad. So we found a couple of things that boost charisma, so that's pretty good. So we'll keep the clean black suit with us, and when we think we're going to need to do a speech check, we'll put that on. That will give us charisma 9, I do believe. Put it on. Special, charisma 9. Okay, so we're still short of 11, but you can have a drink of beer, which will give us charisma 10. Still not 11, so we need to find some other way of boosting charisma. One way of boosting charisma is not very far away from the starting town. It is there in the Red Rocket truck stop. Well, more accurately, it's beneath it. There is a guaranteed piece of charisma clothing that can be worn in conjunction with any other clothing. It is a pair of glasses, so let's go and get them. Just here beneath the garage in this cave. After having taken care of the mole rats that live here, you immediately turn right, and in this dark corner here, if you hold the menu button, which brings up your Pip-Boy, it turns on the Pip-Boy light. That's another free tip for you. Just here, next to the skeleton, is the glasses we need. So we'll take them, we'll put them on our face, and now we have charisma 10. So if we were to drink a beer, we would have charisma 11 and be able to pass any speech check in the game. And the next tip we're going to talk about is these red toolboxes. Almost always these will contain a source of adhesive. Duct tape being the source of adhesive in this box. Why is adhesive so important? Well, because adhesive is a component of almost all the upgrades you will ever do to your weapons and your armor, so it's one of the things you're going to want more than anything else. So keep an eye out for these red toolboxes. There are quite a few of them spread around the starting area, so let's go and investigate them. If you come back out of the cave and back onto the road that leads back to the starting town, just up there on that rock you will find another red toolbox, and it will have some adhesive in it, so let's get up there. Another tip is when you're moving around outside in the wild, always be in sneak mode and look at the brackets at the top, which are bracketing the word hidden. The closer these are to the word hidden, the closer you are to being detected. So that's when you can tell if there's something around, because in survival mode you do not want to get taken by surprise. And there, right in front of us, is our destination, and guess what this has in it? Duct tape. Excellent. So we'll take that. That's more adhesive. Back in town, up at the far end of town by the big tree, in this blue house is another red box, and guess what's inside it? Duct tape. Lovely, I'll have that. Just here next to the workbench is another red toolbox, and guess what's inside that? Duct tape. I'll have that, thank you very much. And there's another one down this end of town, down by the bridge. I wonder what's in here. Wonder glue. That's even better than duct tape, because that's 2 adhesive. Lovely, I'll have that. And this is true for all the various types of toolboxes, including these larger tool chests here. When we look inside, it has vegetable starch. Oh, that's a huge find. Vegetable starch is a whopping 5 adhesive. I'll be having all that, thank you very much. So yeah, the red toolboxes equals adhesive equals upgrades. Keep an eye out for them. And another container you may want to keep an eye out for at the start of the game are these ice coolers, because for some reason every single one of them has some 10mm ammo in it, and the 10mm pistol is a really good gun all the way through the game. At the start of the game it's relatively overpowered, and all the way through the game it remains a useful sidearm, especially when you get the perks which make it work better. So yeah, ice coolers for some reason, 10mm ammo. So we know that we have charisma 10 on this character when we're wearing our suit with our glasses on, and if you have the mod that makes your wedding ring give you charisma, we have charisma 10, which is 1 short of charisma 11, which is what we need to pass any check in the game. There is one thing we have not done though. If you come to the house directly opposite from the workbench, which is your house, this one here, and go to your son's room, underneath his changing dresser is this little magazine, and this will let you increase any of your special stats by 1 point. So that's another way you can get your charisma up. Now you will notice I picked that up when I had charisma 10, So it will not let me put a point into charisma because it thinks my charisma is already maxed out. So what would we do if we were in a situation where I had not began the game with charisma 6? What if I had and reduced charisma down to 3? I would need quite a lot of charisma. There is one drug you can take which gives you 5 charisma for like 8 or 9 minutes. And the ingredients for that are not difficult to find. If you have a look in the chemistry station, it is Grape Mentats. And we see we need 1 unit of mentats, 1 unit of whiskey, and 2 units of hemp flower. Now all these are fairly common things. In fact, there is a guaranteed place you can find mentats. I have one on me already because I found them in one of these containers I was looking at. But when you come into this house, which is next to the tree, and into this room, between this dresser and this box, is guaranteed mentats on the floor. So that's the mentats guaranteed. Hub flowers are not too difficult to find. They're found all over the wild. Anytime you see vegetation, look around for a nice purple flower and that will be a hub flower. Luckily I know where to get them, and they are on the way to where we're going to get a guaranteed bottle of whiskey as well. Where we're going is just over the bridge from the starting town, beyond this water tower, beyond that tower, and down the hill. Very easy to find. Another thing you can do when you're adventuring, and as well as watching your brackets, you can tap the VATS key, which on PC is Q. So as you'll notice, the brackets are absolutely rock solid, and the brackets don't seem to think there's an enemy that's anywhere near to spotting us, but because I tapped VATS, it zoomed in on this enemy. So I have not been taken by surprise by that enemy. So yeah, you can just walk around and just tap VATS and not to be taken by surprise by anything. There's that bloatfly. And there's another bloatfly there. Okay, so thanks to me tapping VATS, what is known as VATS scanning, I now know there are 2 bloatflies up here. And right next to the water tower, facing south, are purple flowers. These are hub flowers. This is what they look like. These you will find all over the place, but this is one place you can get them. I'm sure there's another couple around here somewhere. One place you can look for whiskey is just beyond the water tower. It's just on the top of that hill there. There's a little campfire which has guaranteed to have quite a lot of different randomised booze bottles. Sometimes you'll get lucky and it'll be whiskey. And other times you won't be lucky and it won't be whiskey. So let's get up there and have a look. Here we are at the campfire. We have vodka, Gwinnett Stout, moonshine, stout, wine and beer. Oh well, no whiskey for us today. Not a problem. We have just come from the campfire, which is up there towards this big pylon with this building underneath it is his Abernathy farm. We have found more hemp flowers. I told you these things are common, so we now have all the parts we need to make the drugs. And in here is another red box, and that has duct tape in it, because of course it has. And the guaranteed bottle of whiskey is just down this hill this way. There is a small shack, which will be hiding in the mist somewhere. More hemp flowers, just take these. This little shack here. In there is a guaranteed bottle of whiskey, which is the final ingredient we need to make the Grape Mentats. You see, just in here, next to this red chair, on this table, guaranteed bottle of whiskey. Right, that's everything we need. Okay, we're back. This is the chemistry station. Let's just make the drugs we need. There we are, Grape Mentats, done and dusted very early in the game. As we see here, you can combine some of the chemicals you find into super chems, which have much better stats than the ordinary chems. The most overpowered one in the game is Psycho Jet, which is 1 jet and 1 psycho. You can make psycho, and we've already found the things we need for that, so let's make a psycho, and then make a Psycho Jet. This slows down time for 15 seconds, increases your damage by 25%, and gives you plus 35 damage resist. And plus 40 maximum action points for doing things. It's overpowered as all hell. Hell yeah. So I'm going to keep some of it on my person for emergencies. So now if we get into a big fight and we think we're going to die, we can pop some Psycho Jet, slow down time, increase our damage, hopefully kill everything. And the next step is also to do with crafting. In the cooking station, we've been roaming around and finding some things to kill, and you can cook them up. This will remove the radiation from them. If you eat things which are raw, you will become irradiated. Cooking them removes that. And as we see, these say they increase our radiation resistance as well. And indeed they do, because many things you cook will increase your stats. Now the grilled red roach doesn't, that just feeds you. grilled rad stag. It gives you plus 25 carry weight for 1 hour, so I'll have some of that. It's good practice just to cook up everything you have. Again, you'll get lots of experience from doing that. Now in survival mode, these enhanced abilities from the food will only take effect when you are not hungry. At the moment, we are hungry. So if I was to eat this grilled rad stag, I would not gain plus 25 carry weight. So what you do is that you find something like mutt chops or mole rat chunks, which do not give you an enhanced ability, and you fill up on these first. There we are properly fed. Yum, yum, yum. And now when we eat the grilled rad stag, our carry capacity down here will be increased by 25. There it is. And that lasts for an entire hour. The next tip is save your game often, especially on survival mode. And in survival mode, the only place you can save is in a bed. But this means mattresses and sleeping bags too. We have just come down from Red Rocket towards Concord to the first big firefight of the game. In this little house on the right hand side upstairs is a sleeping bag. So just have a sleep for 1 hour, save your game, and then move on. You're going to have to learn where all the beds are, but you'll very quickly learn that beds and sleeping bags are absolutely everywhere. So that brings us to the end of this random tips video. I hope you find at least some of them useful, and I hope you didn't know a couple of them. Until we meet again, do look after yourself, and I'll speak to you again soon.